Sometimes what we find is that when businesses are in a desperate situation, they would typically want to provide customers with a discount, or when a customer is pushing them for discounts, they would do it because they're desperate for the work, because their pipeline's most probably not there. Our biggest advice is sometimes it's better to say no. If understand your costing model as a business, understand what it is that you need to be able to build in. If you have margins within your industry or within your business, know what's your bare minimum, and do not just take on a big job because it's there.
I think the mistake that entrepreneurs make is a simple equation, right? So you've got revenues and you make 20% margin. When your revenues get cut by 20%, your profits don't go down by 20%. They go down from X to 0. And if they go down by 25%, you're losing money. And the problem is that revenues are quite variable in most businesses. Overheads are not. Overheads are fixed in the short run and kind of variable in the long run. Very, very dangerous mistake. And that's when cash flow comes to hit you.
Going into a scenario where you're competing against other organizations and a customer is very aggressive about their price, they have a budget that they have to stick to it. We've made the mistake of cutting aggressively on our own pricing, and we find ourselves 6 to 12 months down the line almost losing money. It then sours the relationship and nobody wins. And ironically, the customer realizes that their budget was too small. They increase their budget and they end up signing with another provider with an increased budget. So my advice would be, do your math on what you know to be your margin, how you can survive and how you can't. Understand how the project can potentially go out of scope, and stick to that. Better that you lose a deal and have the customer come back to you after 6 months than you take on the deal at what you know will be a loss and you sour a relationship, damage your brand and lose a client. And now the conversation with customers is not about price, it's about what can we deliver and how are we going to deliver it. The price is the price, and we feel that we can justify our offering, and if we can't justify the offering, the customer can walk away after a certain period of time. And it's worked well for us.
People often emphasize price as kind of the game that you need to play. I always say rather focus on value. If you offer a value that makes a difference to people's lives or that adds value to their lives, people tend to they're willing to pay the price that you kind of charge. Price is the last game that you should play. It's incredibly short term and it's most definitely not sustainable. So rather ask yourself, how can I create more value so that people are willing to pay the price for that value that I kind of create, or the perception that I create around value, and then only determine price. And obviously make sure that you monitor your margins all the time, because they tend to change all the time. Because either your suppliers are going to change the cost that they pass on to you, or your municipality is going to change the cost they pass on to you, and they will not warn you when doing so. So making sure that within your price margin you have an extra margin to be able to cater for unexpected price increases are very important.